I wanted to just start with a couple words about of inspiration of what I feel like is possible for all of us with this work, specifically with the first layer of the work where we do this interoception guided practice. I think that one of the qualities of this that defines this style and this work we're doing in our practice in yoga that we're all learning about is actually encapsulated by the two holiday movies I watched recently, where they both revolved around this central word of believe. It was funny. I was like, wow, the two holiday movies that come out this year have the same thing. I was like, oh, right, because the holidays are all about believing and belief. And through the movie, I didn't really feel like I got a grasp on that word very much. But when I've been working and preparing for even this session right here, I found that believing in your creative capacity is a very powerful tool that we are not tapping into as much as we could be. The idea of just believing that the work you're doing in your body, that we're about to start doing, is really beautiful, is expressive, is powerful, is transformative. Like, these are the kind of terms that you would apply to like a work of art that you might create one day. But we don't always think about that in terms of just our daily movement. Now, I'll tell you, we all know as teachers, when you're teaching something, you believe in it a lot. You believe in it more than you tend to when you're just a student taking a class. So we all know that that's possible. And so for you as students in this class, I ask you to believe in your work that you're doing as if you were teaching this, because you are. Because if you just simply follow my cues for the next 30 minutes, and that's all you do, then mission not accomplished for me. I hope that you will adjust things, that you will add and subtract things from whatever I'm teaching based on what is coming through and what's coming through for you, just like as if you were creating a class and you would feel and listen. I want you to really try to approach taking this short class as if you were trying to tap into that same place you tap into when you teach. All right. So with that said, we all have the option of using the playlist. If you'd like to cue up the first song, it should be Weightless, and make sure it's looping. I don't think it'll be a big deal, but it just always helps in case I go a little longer than planned. And we're going to use this song to be the backdrop for our intro surfing, and then we'll use the next track to be a backdrop for the whole rest of class. So you only have to change tracks one more time. And before we even move a muscle, after you all get settled in, of course, we need to connect with our breath and the space that we're in. Sort of like finding that neutral place, that ground. It can help to just sort of wiggle a little in your seat, of course. You know, when you're trying to settle in, sometimes you got to get the wiggles out. And then when you feel ready for it, you just follow that exhale down into stillness. Let the eyes close. And imagine the center line running up the body, like along the spine, possibly. But imagine the center line that just slices right through the whole center line of the body. And let your awareness really settle on that center line. It goes through the third eye, the throat, the heart, the navel, right through the chakras. And feel that center line, your body, a mirror image on each side of it. And this is your chance to connect as deeply as you can with where you're at. Not because I'm telling you to, but because it's how you get this process started. Try to release tension and connect with the most natural breath flow you have right now. If you feel tension in the body, if you feel a stiffness, try to relax it consciously, come back to the breath. You can practice the slight smile because sometimes it really helps to spark our heart and our prana. That slight smile. And try to feel the internal awakening of the slight smile, not the superficial muscle awakening of your face. And then try to stay attached to that internal feeling of the slight smile, and you can let the muscles of the face relax. Feel the forehead as expansive, no creases of thought. It's natural to feel a little bit of tightness in the head, neck, and shoulders. Before we start to move, just sort of notice what you feel there. Without judgment, we're going to work on it no matter how it is. And before we move at all in this zone, bring your breath there first. Bring your awareness there first. Relax on the deepest level possible. And below your shoulders, feel whatever movement is occurring due to your breath in the chest, ribs, or belly. Can swallow. Take a slightly deeper breath in and feel again what your breath affects in the chest, ribs, and belly. And then let yourself relax as if you're taking a warm shower. Let the awareness wash down over the back of the head and the shoulders, over the torso, and let that warmth of awareness really just sink you down into the base of your seat and feel that connection to the earth in your base. And from this place of relaxed stillness, begin to initiate a very infinitesimal amount of movement through the spine, and let that movement laterally ripple up to affect the head and neck, so that you're moving the head and neck side to side, but it's really a result of the middle of the back and those muscles. And you really want to feel this almost imperceptibly. If someone was watching you from the outside, they might not even see you moving at all. Really try to understand that last cue. Because your movement has to come from a place of feeling first, not a place of external perception. So try to move in a way that would not even be perceivable, but yet you feel it. And then from that feeling, not from external perception, from the feeling, you gently allow the motion of the spine to be a little bit larger, so that now your head and neck movement is perceptible. From this space, we can begin to play a little bit more with momentum, so that your motion isn't the exact same from left to right, but there's a bit of momentum as the head drifts to the side. It slows down the rebound naturally, and you can play with this yourself. Momentum is an intuitive process. It doesn't really need to be understood. It just means you're letting things happen, letting them be weighted, and letting gravity work. Allow the motions to leave the realm of just side to side, if you haven't already, and let the momentum naturally carry you into different angles of this sway. A 360-degree potential of movement. But be patient and let yourself color in that space based on your movement and where it takes you. You might not color in every angle of that 360. The shoulders naturally begin to rotate, ungripping through neck and shoulders. The shoulders move with you. As the shoulders begin to move a little more, the arms begin to move a little more, and the hands are no longer static. They reflect your overall movement, sliding and gliding on the legs or off of them. Keep your movement fresh. The minute it doesn't feel fresh is the minute you can begin playing with it, you know? We're trying to find that space where we're exploring a freshness of movement in each moment. Not all at once. A continuation of freshness. And your body will appreciate it. Where are the spaces you're missing? What are you missing? What aren't you doing? Allow yourself to be slightly more expressive, meaning slightly more poetic, slightly more amazing. Don't assume anything about your movement. Make it really beautiful and real. No one's watching. Feel. Allow one or both of the legs to participate as you connect the torso through the hips to the legs. Seated, it can be pretty challenging to incorporate those legs. It's a tough position. Take your time with it. It's not just about stretching. It's about exploring, about touching. It's about shifting your weight. Again, don't assume your movement. It should be new to you. You're the teacher. You're not the student here. Last moments. You can slowly work your way back to your cushion. Alright, when you arrive back on your cushion, take a moment to feel what you did for yourself. Right now, you can feel your connective tissue. I promise you can. It's the space in between everything that you normally feel. It's the space that you were just exploring through your movement. And so that space is awakened to some degree more than it was. So any of that lightness you might feel in your body, that lightness, that space between, that's this fascial layer of awareness. And so just come back to your breath for another moment before we start moving in our postures. Relax everything. There's nothing we need to do right now except for try to feel the breath. Nothing else. There's no class today. There's nothing happening after this. There's just this. Give it a shot. Relax. Recently I started learning how to play the drums and with sticks, and I'm using this textbook that's from like the 1800s. And it's really cool. In the intro, the person's talking about he says that to access what we need to access when we're drumming, we have to do it from a state of relaxation. He said even the most powerful and fastest drum rolls have to be done from a relaxed muscular state. And he says when you're practicing drumming, when you feel tension arise, like when you feel yourself gripping, he said stop right where you are. Put the drumsticks by your side, move around a little bit, and then start over. Because there's nothing gained through a gripping practice. And we need to apply that same methodology to our practice. We keep working so hard to accomplish so much, and it's gained in this gripping way. And the problem is we don't really absorb it, all the work we're doing. We squeeze it. So as you're practicing today, as we're practicing, when you feel that gripping arise, which it definitely will, it's a part of our nature, it's part of what we are. It's what we're surrendering. It's why we're here to work through. So when it arises, take a step back. Do your own thing for a minute. Stop doing whatever you're doing that's causing the gripping. And wait till you're excited to come back in to what we're doing. And so with that, you're welcome to move your spine a little bit, and you can change the track. We'll use a different song for the rest of our practice together. This one should be the Brian Eno track. Not required by any means. Alright, remember, your movement matters. What you're doing right now is real and inspiring and beautiful. So don't think you're just doing this for yourself. This is something that, when you do it well, becomes that which you share. So we're going to begin in the seated position with the right leg in front. For simplicity of movement, I've positioned my mat horizontally to the camera. Most of you are roughly in that direction. If you could pivot horizontally to your web monitor or your monitor, it might help. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal, but could help. All right. And we'll begin with the right leg in front. And I'm just glancing at you all, so that means that way. And we'll bring the hands down to the sides. And sweep your right arm up for a moment. This is something we're all familiar with, just that little side bend here. But I want you to tent your fingertips on the left hand and just feel that weight go into the hand, and feel how your hand has to press into the floor to support that side bend. You don't have to do it. You don't have to consciously do it. Your body will. But just feel as you put that weight there. I want you to turn that palm over and reach that arm back and keep pressing through the hand as you reach that right arm up and away until you have to let go of the floor, and then the right hand comes down and we're on the other side. You can tent your right fingertips now, the left arm's up, and just feel as you bend to the side how your hand, your elbow bends, how your right shoulder supports you underneath you. And as you push through the floor, feel all that musculature in your arms just doing all this work without you even telling it to. And then that left arm is going to reach up and away. And again, keep pressing through those fingertips and feel this connection between you pressing the floor and you reaching up. And then one more time here. Fingertips again are holding us up, and the arm is really integrated this way. If we were to flatten our palm into the floor, a lot of this musculature would turn off. So you can feel your forearm, your tricep, bicep, shoulder, all supporting this bend. And then reaching, pressing, reaching, feel that connection. Other side. On your own here, you know what we're doing. Just a few pulses here of shifting, letting weight absorb into the arm. And then we're going to you're going to press this arm down and play with a little bit of momentum. Now you're pressing, and you're just pressing to let yourself fly over. All that integration is now smoothly moving you. How do you get to this point of grace? You got to take a few moments to feel first, right? And then the hands can come up and relax down. You're muted, so you can do that kind of thing. It's great. In a yoga class, you might feel awkward, but you're muted. The right leg is going to extend out to the side. And for this portion, I find it a little bit more comfortable. Go ahead and bring any cushion out from underneath the seat, but you got to make that call based on your body. I like to have the knee bent just to help unload that posterior chain. And we're going to do some big circular rocking motions. I don't want you to think that you have to face the extended leg. In fact, I think just really using this space in front of you is more beneficial. And so you're really trying to feel the hips starting to wake up, integrating with the spine here. And then after your next couple, you can turn a little bit more towards that leg. Walk the left hand in front of your left knee. And then just rock a little side to side. We might get into the hamstring here a little bit. Seated forward folds can be pretty challenging early on, and so it's not always about the hamstring. And try to feel this connection between your sit bones hitting the floor and your spine rippling side to side above it. And then we'll start working with the spine a little more by bringing your left knee up. Hands can sort of post up behind you. And just begin by dropping the left knee out to the side, reaching the right arm up and away. And you're just on your hip, super easy, just reaching the arm away from the extended leg. And then just sort of go to the other side, just go to the other side. And do the same motion. And allow yourself to just explore this diagonal stretch. And again, modify for your needs. And as you feel excited about it, bring a little more weight to that back hand and lift your hip off the floor a hair in each direction. Try to slow it down so that you feel like your motion almost has like trails. Like you could see and feel the trail of your arm. And let the motions get gradually a little bit larger. Your arm might just want to reach a little further, not because I'm telling it to, but because it feels amazing. And the next time you are going to your left, I just want you to pause there and bring that knee underneath your hip a little bit so that you can be in this stretch just a hair longer. So you're reaching all the way out to your left. Your right arm and your right leg are reaching apart. And then from here, draw that knee even more underneath you. And you can use fingertips on that left hand or a flat palm. And just draw some big circles with the arm to get that shoulder and chest opening. As the arm comes up, pause. And then thread the needle of this right arm through the opening underneath your left armpit and then back up and feel this nice diagonal work. And try to take your time with this so that you feel like you're just like you're carving this space and you're reaching back who knows how far, and then you're rewinding back up. And when I say rewind, the reason I say that is so that you still have awareness of that trail, right? Looking good. All right, next time the arm goes up, you're going to bring the left shin a little bit more arced back, almost like the shin is pointing a little bit more behind you, and the knee's pointing a little bit more forward. Bend the right knee and use that momentum that we played with earlier to fan through some bent knee parigasanas. Your right knee's bent and you're fanning away from it and then towards it. Your hand might naturally land behind the leg. There's a little bit more space there, or you're welcome to land it in front. I would probably say which one is, more interesting for you. And the next time you fan past that leg, and you're in what would look like a modified parigasana, just pause here. Your elbow can obviously be on your knee or fingertips on the floor. And then we're going to paint the sky red. So you're going to bring the hand down and back. And I want you to imagine the back of your hand has a huge sponge in it. It's filled with paint. I want you to just draw a big paint smear across the sky. Feel that sponge like sort of sopping into the atmosphere. And what I'm feeling here is that huge space, that huge span of musculature of your shoulder connecting to your back. The next time you paint the sky and the arm ends up away from you, back behind you, I want you to pause. You can bring that elbow up to the knee. Flex the palm and reach away from your head. Bring your head a little bit more towards the right shoulder for a nerve glide along the left side of your neck. You can turn your head a little bit away from the hand and then a little bit towards it. Just Exploring that nerve glide, side neck stretch. We'll take that same hand that's reaching back, and we'll keep reaching back and find the mat. You're going to turn. This will be sort of challenging because you're going to be facing away from the camera a little bit here, or your monitor. So just use my cues. Always feel free to look back. You're going to turn away from me. You still have that same knee on the floor and that same right leg extended. It's okay if one hand lands on the mat and the other doesn't. That's cool. If they're both on the mat, that's fine. And then from here, those hands are underneath the shoulders. Just paw the mat a little bit with your hands like you're a cat pawing the mat. That'll help you find a natural shoulder width stance for your hands. And then bring your weight into a little bit bent elbows. That'll help to activate the arms so you're not in locked out joints. And then feel this action occur. As you press the floor, you're going to come back into what would look like a one leg extended downward dog, and that knee is bent. That left knee is still bent underneath you. So it's like you're just stretching that right leg. I'm going to just take a glance at you to make sure we're all on the same page. Yeah, exactly. And then from here, let your body come back through what would look like a plank position. And then just peek the heart forward through your shoulders. And play with this again. Now I want you to watch. As your heart comes back and you're going to push back into that downward dog-ish position, feel the abdominals working. Feel the shoulders, the pecs all turning on. The whole front of your body is turning on. And then as you bring yourself forward and you peek that heart forward, feel the back muscles starting to turn on, and you might even float the foot off the floor a little bit. Make this a progressive work for yourself. So each time you come forward, that foot can lift a little bit further off the floor, reaching back as the heart lifts up. And when you come back into your downward dogs, feel that strong abdominal front line, all that musculature firing together. You might even tuck your chin a little bit when you get into your downward dog. Just a couple more here and keep progressing that back leg. Eventually your back leg can even start to bend, and you can turn this into a pretty strong, almost like a crunch for your back. Last one. We'll drop the knee, or we'll drop the leg back into that original sort of plank positioning. And go ahead and actually lift up into that last downward dog version. And here we go. Stay with me here. I know you can't quite see me, but you can turn anytime you want. You're going to take your back foot and just step it forward between your hands. That's it. So now your right foot's between your hands. Plant your back foot back and let it open up a little bit for like a heel-to-heel stance. And then I don't want you to rush this. This is one of my favorite moments right here. Feel, as you release your hands from the floor, the weight shifting from your hands to your foot in front of you. And then feel the back of your leg, the hamstring of your leg, working as you rise up. This is a really cool experience. The hamstring is really hard to feel fire. And when you get up to that heel-to-heel stance, you can feel the bottom of that right leg, and it is working. We're always used to stretching our hamstrings. We're very rarely used to feeling them work. This is cool. Arms can fan up. And then we're in Virabhajasana 1, right? But I don't want you to just assume that. We're going to do a little bit of a, almost like a robin's breath, but with the arms bent. And you're going to pull the arms back for a little chest expander. And then let the front leg extend. And abdominals crunch and our elbows come towards each other. And so you're just waving the arms and allowing the knee to bend and extend. A couple more times. I'm glancing at you. Yeah, good. Yep. Try to feel the whole body integrate so that the legs move as your spine moves. How should they move? I bet you your body knows. All right, and then pause in your next Virabhajasana 1 moment. You're welcome to shorten your stance a little bit to look at me. I'm going to do a quick demo of our next little movement packet, and this is the last little movement packet of this whole sequence. And so from this position that we're in now, you're simply going to crouch a little deeper, float onto the foot, and you're going to be in what would look like it's like a running man kind of crouch. And it's a really powerful position for the leg. And then here we go from this running man, which was just one step away from Vera 1, running man. And we're going to power down through the foot and just trying to lift and lengthen up through the opposite leg to elbow. We do that a couple of times. I hope all of you lose your balance at least once. I always do, and I think it's a good sign you're playing. And then after you do that a couple of times, we'll go from the running man into reaching the arms and legs apart in a Virabhadrasana 3. And then that's it. We're going to drop the foot back for one more Vira 1 with a little diagonal stretch, and then we come to the floor. So from back in your Virabhadrasana 1, crouch low into your running man position. And from running man position, float onto that leg in front of you, and then play with powering down through the foot to lift up the opposite knee. Don't worry about how far up it goes. I'd really rather see you feeling the work in that leg and how much integration is having. Great. Glad to see a little wobble from Jessica. Awesome. Good. And then Gopika, challenge yourself to go a little bit lower, find this like really deep sort of position, and then don't worry about how high it goes, but just play with that one leg having to support you. Good. Sean, take your time. All right, here we go. So from your next running man, we're going to just lengthen the bottom leg, reaching left arm forward, right arm back, and just pausing, not fully extending any of our limbs. None of them are fully extended. That's going to integrate a lot more of your glute medius, a lot more of your hamstring, your quads. Everything's going to be working. And then from there, bring the back leg to the mat, just like we did before in Virabhadrasana 1. But let that back arm just keep reaching back as you sort of lift up into an exalted kind of warrior 1. Awesome. That top hand that's fanning up is going to come all the way to the floor. We drop the back knee and we sit down facing the monitor again. Legs crossed. And pause. Similar to our pause after interoception, we're trying to take a moment now to feel the effect. We might not imagine like we're not even going to do the other side. We are. But imagine like there's nothing else today. That was it. And this moment right now is really important. Not because I say it is, but because it's a time for you to drink in your work. A little wobble in the spine. We'll bring the left leg in front. And here's the beauty of this work, is that even though we haven't done all of this on the other side, your body has done all this on the first side. And so you might find that we can spend a little less time in the prescriptive beginning moments and a little more time in maybe more of those fun momentum-based kind of experiences. My cues might not reflect where your body's at, so feel free to go ahead to stay behind and again add or subtract to anything I'm teaching. All right, we'll start. We'll bring the left hand down, fingertips, right arm can come up, and then just take a moment to bend into that elbow, feel the fingertips doing the work, and notice as the torso's weight shifts over, all that integration. And then take a moment to reach away as you're still pressing the floor, and then let that hand float down. Other side. Feel the integration, the hand, the elbow, the shoulder to the back, just because of that weight. And then the reaching up, pushing through, and then maybe we move into our momentum-based movement, or perhaps you work a little bit more with what we were just doing. The momentum would have you floating from side to side and really catching yourself on those fingertips and immediately integrating the arm, shoulder, back. Can you feel weightless at the top? You know, is it really just an idea, or is it real? Is it something you can actually experience? Play with catching yourself just a hair later, so that everything isn't just like you want it. And then next time you float up, you can just let them come down. Great. Left leg's going to reach out this time. Your call on whether to remove the cushion or not at this point. And we'll begin with some nice big sort of cauldron stirring motions. The cauldron being the base of the spine and the stir being our spine. And as you're going through this motion, notice the interaction of the shoulders in this motion. Notice how they sort of go in front of and behind, how they're relating to this spinal movement, how your body is twisting and rotating. Cool. And then we'll bring that right knee up, and a couple of rounds could be helpful just to again explore the hips. But you drop the knee out to the side as you turn to the side, lifting the left arm up, and then sweeping across the body. The right arm will sweep up as you, well, at first you were just going to reach, but eventually you're approaching a little bit of a lift off with the hips. That might feel natural right away for you. Or perhaps you're really taking your time and feeling all those aspects of the staying lower. Try to pay attention if your movement becomes sort of obvious, meaning you just totally know what you're doing, and challenge yourself there. Slow it down a hair. Draw a slightly different trajectory. If your movement's obvious, you've already done that enough. You don't need to practice that. Slowing it down can force you to integrate a lot more musculature along the way. The next time your left arm sweeps, you can just pause there with the left arm and left leg extended, pulling apart, side body opening up. And again, always feel free to go at your own pace, skip, add, and subtract. All right, and then from there, we push up a little bit higher, bringing that arm up, and we're going to walk the hand forward. So our hand, our knee, and our left foot are in a one line for side plankish. It's like a supported side plank. And then that top arm sweeps down for a thread the needle. This threading of the needle is this really nice diagonal line of movement. Again, the angle that you reach is not obvious. Try reaching behind you or more in front of you. Try not even reaching, but really doing it mostly with your shoulder. Last one. Next time the arm comes up, pivot the shin to face a little bit more back. Bend your left knee, and then we're playing with momentum here, Parigasana. Pushing off the fingertips, floating over the center, catching yourself from side to side. Whether you're catching yourself behind the leg or in front of the legs, up to you. Really imagine like you're playing catch. There's a moment when you have to apply a little extra force. When you push off the floor, it's not one even motion. There are slow moments, there are more intense moments. There's quicker moments, there's unstable moments. All right, next time you come towards the leg, you can just pause there. We'll sweep the arm one time, just relax that shoulder, open up the spine, and then you're welcome to bring the elbow to the knee. Big sponge, full of paint. The hand turns, the palm of the hand turns towards the monitor as you paint the sky. Dripping, like a graffiti artist just wants those drips down the wall. Sopping wet sponge of your favorite color. Cover it all. And the next time that arm goes back, you can drop that sponge, flex the hand, and reach the ear away from the extended arm. Play with angles of head direction. Excellent. That hand that's reaching behind you, that will guide you all the way back to the floor. Finding the mat, and then pivoting back towards that hand. It's sort of fun when one hand lands on the mat and another hand doesn't. Don't always auto-correct everything you do. That could just be a really nice destabilizing thing that'll awaken more musculature. So wherever your hands land is great. We're in this running sort of crouch position. Feel the transition as you press those hands to the floor to lift yourself up to downward dog with that one knee bent underneath you. A little tuck of the chin can incorporate the entire fascial line running along your back. And then as you come forward, the knee plants underneath you, lifting the heart through the arms. And remember, this is a progressive movement. Progressive movements sort of require your interest. Your body wants to want more, needs to want more, to go more. Don't just tell it like, oh, now we do this. Gotta listen. Just a few more repetitions, possibly the leg leaving the floor, possibly the knee even bending, See what you want. You got your abs on the front and you got your abs on the back, and you're doing crunches in both ways, really. The next time you're back in downward dog, pause for a moment. Little tuck in the chin. There's a fascial line that runs from the arches of your foot, the calf, the thigh, along the back, the neck, the head, all the way to the top of your eyebrows. As you slightly tuck the chin and feel this whole fascial line, the whole back side of your body. Alright, from there, that back foot steps up between your hands. Again, you can't really go wrong with where that foot lands. And then take your time with this. Remember, I was so excited about this on the last side. Your weight right now is in your heel, probably, in your fingertips. And I want you to feel, as you raise those arms, all the work that is instigated in your hamstring. It's tremendous. And it's a very rare feeling in our yoga culture. Arms can pull back and open into a cactus chest expander. And then playing with bending the back knee, rounding the spine, just like we were before. Really, we're just doing waves of the spine. Cool. Good. Be less interested in your hands. Be less interested in your elbows. Be more interested in your spine, your hips. Let those drive the movement. The pecs on the front, the abdominals. These are your drivers. You know, your arms, they're following most of the time, where they're just creating momentum in a lot of these movements, but all right, and then the next time your arms open up, your chest opens up, you can turn your head a couple of times. And we go into our running man, and then sort of the lifted elbow towards knee, knee towards elbow moment. You're always welcome to look at me. The running man is a low position. It's got a ton of potential energy, right? And as you press down through that leg, you should feel the work of rising up. And just playing with that, those two poles. Great. Yeah, Amber, that looks nice. Good. Nice reach back, Jessica. Like, yeah, everybody can let themselves torque a little bit, almost like you're a corkscrew. When you come back, you naturally want to corkscrew a little bit. It's just if you're feeling, it will happen. You don't have to keep yourself in one plane. It naturally wants to corkscrew. Your back foot will go a little bit to your left, I bet. All right, the next time you come back into that little corkscrew moment, pause for a second. And then one last reach here as you press down through the foot, you're reaching that left arm forward, the right arm back. Reaching the leg back to an extended VR1 with nothing fully extended, yet everything fully on. Feel the muscles of your back and feel those abs. Play a little bit right there. The abs in the front, the abs in the back. Planting the back foot. You can spiral the arms. Your right arm reaching up, your left arm reaching back towards the back of your knee. And then we just reach forward and we find the mat. Drop knee. And we find our seat. At this point, you can mute or you can press pause on your tunes. Tuning in. If you need to make any adjustments, to be able to sit comfortably for a little bit longer. Won't be a full half hour or anything, but just, let yourself make those adjustments now. And whenever you can, find your seat and then tune into the feeling of that last half of our flow. It's similar to the feeling after you do a lot of mantra, where there's a residual vibration that is still like happening inside, almost like a residual movement. You can bring the thumb and the forefinger together. And just like we began our class today, try to give yourself permission to really matter. Your experience is a big deal. It's not just something that comes and goes and that maybe you had or maybe you didn't. But your work to feel ignites your whole spiritual system. And as we tune in now to motionless feeling, we're only going deeper. We're not doing anything different. But it is different because it's a more subtle feeling that we're looking for. Lengthen the inhale and exhale just a little bit. Through the nose, of course. Try on that slight smile. Don't get distracted by just the muscles of the face. Try to feel where that smile is really happening. And so now we're using a little effort to instigate feeling, just like our stretches give us something to feel physically. These are more subtle stretches that give us something to feel on a slightly more subtle level. So tune into the feeling of the breath that you're gently lengthening, and of the smile that you're also gently lengthening. In order to fully experience this smile and this breath, the physical body needs to relax, or else it will become a barrier to experiencing a more subtle feeling. One of the best ways to help yourself relax is to just fully embrace the moment you're in without any reserve. No matter what condition you find yourself in, no matter where or what, you just completely open up to it. And you start from here. You can swallow to release any tension that tends to accumulate in the throat. Follow that swallow down with your breath and start to feel that pathway to the heart. allow the work that you're bringing to your breath and to the slight smile to become more minimal, so that you're still feeling that work, you're still doing it, but it feels like you're using less effort. And sustaining that minimal level of effort is actually quite challenging and quite rewarding. Feel the forehead soften. You might need to swallow again in the throat. Try to allow a warm shower of awareness to pour down the back of the neck, shoulders, softening as best we can there. And bring your attention to the exhale specifically. And just make sure you're allowing that exhale to finish into stillness before inhaling. You don't have to hold the pause or make it longer, but just notice. Allow that exhale to finish each time and allow the inhale to come to you. And because we're bringing a little more attention to our exhale, we can use the mantra So Hum. The same mantra as Hamsa, given to us by Muktananda. But just beginning with the exhale focus, you can repeat the mantra So as you exhale silently, and then Hum as you inhale. I am that. It's very challenging to watch the breath without manipulating it. And we have to accept that challenge, not try to act like it doesn't exist or push it away. That's the work we're doing. So when you watch the breath, you naturally manipulate it. But what you can focus on is manipulating the breath a little less each time you breathe. Focus on the quality of the experience, the actual feeling of breathing, Focus on your mantra. So hum. Just like our work in the physical body, this is a progressive experience. You have to work with each breath and allow the experience to unfold a little every time you breathe. And if you can feel that progressive level of your work, it will take you so far. But if you just want it to be done, or you want to just be there, that stops our work. So work with the breath you're on, feeling the quality of it, repeating your mantra, and trying to use less and less effort to manipulate the breath each time. One of the most interesting moments of the breath is the pause after the exhale. It's a place where everything comes to rest, allowing you to tap into stillness of body, breath, and mind, and also allowing you to better receive the breath to come. Similar to our work in the body, try not to assume a breath flow. Try to feel the reality of your breathing. Feel it wanting to find balance. Every breath bringing you closer and closer to perfect balance. The less you manipulate it, the more it can work for you. Initiate some small motion in your spine. Let it ripple up through shoulders and neck. We're going to take the last few minutes of our practice to do a little bit of gratitude and a little bit of tension release. So you can bring the hands to the heart, slightly cupping the hands, little space between them. And you can revisit that slight smile. Picture yourself as the Buddha holding the jewel between your hands, the jewel of enlightenment. And really feel that connection. You know, you are the Buddha. You just haven't realized it yet. And that's our work. So let yourself try to realize it. Just breathe into your heart. Feel that connection. Imagine that crown on your head, that 1,000-pointed chakra Imagine that lotus seat. And those robes draping down. And that slight smile and wise eyes. And let your awareness pour down into the heart with that slight smile and cultivate a deep sense of contentment, a deep sense of quiet joy. Symbolized by that jewel in the hands. And then very quietly and very humbly allow the hands to open a little bit. And keep the palms together and just let the hands fan open and let the light of that jewel just shine up vertically. And you can offer that joy out of the crown of your head along with the light of this jewel as it shines up. Storing your merit from your work in your astral body. And allow the hands to just slowly part. And you can keep that receptivity open as you allow those hands to turn down and float to fingertips on the floor. And as you inhale, imagine pulling in this fresh prana like a light rain through your system. And holding the breath for a moment as you allow that prana to circulate through you, collecting any debris, anything that was kicked up in this practice. And as you exhale, let that pour out of the heart like ash, smoke, or soot, pour out of the heart down the arms and out your hands. And do that a couple more times at your own pace. Bring in something really fresh. Let it swirl inside, collect the debris that you kicked up, and then feel this stuff go. Flicking out fingertips, wiping off arms. And pausing for our final moment with the bell. Namaste.